The letter trembled in my hands, its crisp edges cutting into my fingers like tiny blades of betrayal. My father's precise handwriting, always so controlled and measured, spelled out Samantha's future as if he were drafting just another business contract. I'm Michelle, and this moment marked the end of playing the dutiful daughter. A strategic merger through marriage, he wrote. The Wilson boy will secure our position in the market. No mention of love. No consideration for Samantha's happiness. Just cold, calculated business moves using my sister as currency. The study felt smaller suddenly, its mahogany panels closing in. Father's leather chair sat empty behind his massive desk, but I could feel his presence, that suffocating authority that had shaped our entire lives. The afternoon sun caught the family portrait on the wall, all of us wearing practiced smiles, mother's hand resting too stiffly on father's shoulder. My phone buzzed. A text from Samantha. Meeting Jason for coffee. Don't tell Dad. My fingers clenched around the letter. Jason, the man she actually loved. The one father deemed unsuitable, because he chose teaching over corporate climbing. I took a photo of the letter before carefully returning it to father's desk drawer. Everything all right in there, Michelle? Mother's voice drifted in from the hallway, soft and uncertain as always. Just dropping off those contracts father asked for. The lie came easily. Years of practice. I found Mother in the kitchen, mechanically arranging flowers in a crystal vase. Her movements were precise, just as father had taught her. Everything in its proper place. Those roses need more water, I said, watching her reaction. She adjusted the water level without looking up. Your father likes them exactly like this. And what do you like, Mother? Her hand stilled for just a moment. Don't start, Michelle. Please. My phone buzzed again. Samantha. He's going to propose soon. I can feel it. The weight of what I'd discovered pressed against my chest. I needed to warn her, but not here. Not with Mother's worried eyes tracking my movements. I'm heading out, I announced. Meeting Michael for dinner. Your father won't be pleased. He wanted to discuss the quarterly reports with you tonight. The reports can wait. Mother's fingers worried at her pearl necklace. Father's first anniversary gift to her. Michelle, please. You know how he gets when things aren't exactly as he wants them. Yes, Mother. I know exactly how he gets. I left before she could respond, the letter's contents burning in my mind. In the driveway, I texted Samantha. Need to see you. Emergency. Meet at our spot in an hour. The response came quickly. Can't. With Jason's smiley face. Sam. This is serious. It's about Dad. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally. Okay. 1 hour. I started my car, catching a glimpse of Mother through the kitchen window. Still arranging those roses, still trying to make everything perfect. Behind her, Father's study loomed dark and imposing. My phone lit up with another text, this time from Michael. Everything set for tomorrow's meeting? I hadn't told him about the letter yet. Hadn't told him how Father's latest power play threatened to destroy not just Samantha's happiness, but the fragile peace we'd maintained in this family for years. Change of plans, I typed back. We need to talk strategy. Because that's what Father had taught us, wasn't it? Everything was strategy. Every relationship a potential alliance or liability. Every emotion a weakness to be controlled. Well, Father, I thought as I pulled out of the driveway, 2 can play at that game. You taught us well, perhaps too well. The sun was setting behind the Thompson Industries building downtown, its glass windows reflecting orange fire. Somewhere in there, Father was probably already setting his plan in motion. But he'd forgotten one crucial detail. I wasn't that scared little girl anymore. And I'd burn his whole empire down before I let him do to Samantha what he'd done to Mother. Meeting Samantha at our childhood hideout, the old gazebo behind Aunt Linda's house, felt like stepping into a time capsule. The peeling white paint and creaking floorboards hadn't changed, but everything else had. You're being dramatic, Samantha said, scrolling through her phone. Dad's always making deals. I pulled out my phone, showing her the photo of the letter. Read it. Her eyes widened as she scanned the words, color draining from her face. The Wilson boy? You mean Derek Wilson? That entitled jackass from high school. Apparently, his father's company is Father's ticket to salvation. I watched her hands start to shake. He's already arranged the first dinner meeting. I won't do it. She stood up, pacing the small space. He can't make me. I love Jason. Father doesn't care about love. He cares about power. The bitterness in my voice surprised even me. And right now he's losing it. Samantha stopped pacing. What do you mean? Before I could answer, headlights swept across the gazebo. We both froze, but it was just Michael pulling up in his sedan. He joined us, bringing the smell of coffee and city with him. Your father's looking for you both, he said, handing me a cup. There's some kind of emergency board meeting tomorrow morning. Emergency? Samantha's voice cracked. Did he say what about? Michael shook his head. But I overheard Marcus from accounting talking about major discrepancies in the quarterly reports. I remembered Mother's words about Father wanting to discuss those reports tonight. The pieces were starting to fit together. We need to move fast, I said. Sam, you need to tell Jason everything. Tell me what? We all spun around. Jason stood at the gazebo steps, his teacher's messenger bag slung across his chest. Samantha rushed to him, but stopped short of embracing him. I thought you were grading papers tonight, she said. I was. Then your father called the school, asking if I'd seen you. Jason's eyes moved between us. What's going on? The silence stretched thin. Finally, Samantha took his hand. We need to talk. They walked to the far end of Aunt Linda's garden, leaving Michael and me in the gazebo. Through the lattice, I could see Samantha gesturing. Jason's posture growing more rigid with each passing moment. Your father's going to notice you missed dinner, Michael said quietly. Let him notice. I gripped the railing. I'm done playing his games. Michelle. Michael's hand covered mine. If what I heard at the office is true, your father's not just playing games anymore. He's desperate. Good. The word came out sharp as glass. Maybe now he'll know how it feels to lose control. A cry from the garden made us both turn. Jason had backed away from Samantha, shaking his head. Even in the dim light, I could see the devastation on my sister's face. I should go to her, I said, but Michael held me back. Wait. Let them figure it out. We watched as Jason paced, ran his hands through his hair, then finally pulled Samantha into a fierce embrace. When they returned to the gazebo, their faces were set with determination. We're leaving, Jason announced. Tonight. No, I said immediately. That's exactly what Father expects. He's probably watching both of you already. Then what do we do? Samantha's voice was small, like when we were children hiding from Father's rages. My phone buzzed, a text from Mother. Your father knows about the letter. Come home now. The others read the message over my shoulder. Samantha grabbed my arm. Michelle, I'm sorry. I never meant to. Listen to me. I cut her off. All of you. We're going to give Father exactly what he wants. What? Samantha stared at me. But you just said. We're going to play his game, I continued, a plan forming. But we're going to play it better than he ever could. Michael squeezed my hand, understanding dawning in his eyes. The board meeting tomorrow. I nodded. Father's not the only one who knows how to arrange a marriage of convenience. In the distance, thunder rolled across the sky. A storm was coming in more ways than one. And this time I was ready for it. The boardroom felt like a tomb, all polished mahogany and stale air. I sat at my usual place, 3 seats down from Father, watching him shuffle papers with trembling hands. He'd aged 10 years overnight, but his eyes still burned with that familiar, dangerous intensity. The Wilson merger is our only option, he announced to the board. Their capital injection will stabilize. Stabilize what exactly? I interrupted, sliding the financial reports across the table. The $8 million deficit you've been hiding? The room went deadly quiet. Father's face turned an alarming shade of red. Where did you get those? From the same drawer where you keep your plans to sell my sister's future. Board members shifted uncomfortably in their chairs. Someone coughed. Father's fingers curled around his pen until his knuckles went white. Michelle, he said, voice dangerously soft, step outside with me. No. I stood, addressing the board. You all deserve to know what's really happening. Our CEO has been cooking the books for months, possibly years. That's enough. Father slammed his fist on the table. This is a family matter. Everything's a family matter with you, isn't it? I pulled out my phone, displaying more documents, including the offshore accounts, the shell companies. A gasp from the doorway made us all turn. Mother stood there, clutching her signature pearl necklace, Aunt Linda right behind her with a hand on her shoulder. John, Mother whispered, what have you done? Father's mask slipped for just a moment, revealing something I'd never seen before, fear. Rebecca, go home, he ordered. This doesn't concern you. Like hell it doesn't. Aunt Linda stepped forward. It's time, John. We all know. Know what? I looked between them, sensing years of unspoken history crackling in the air. Mother reached into her handbag and pulled out a weather journal. My heart stopped when I recognized her maiden name embossed on the cover. I should have shown you girls this years ago, she said, voice stronger than I'd ever heard it. About how your father really started this company. Father lunged for the journal, but Aunt Linda was faster. She snatched it and tossed it to me. As I caught it, Father's phone buzzed. His face went ashen as he read the message. The Wilson deal, he muttered. They're pulling out. Of course they are, I said, flipping through Mother's journal. I met with Derek Wilson last night. Showed him everything. You stupid girl, Father snarled. You've destroyed us all. No, Father. You did that yourself. I turned to the board. There's more. Much more. And I'll reveal everything unless you agree to my terms. Terms? He barked out a laugh. You're in no position. Samantha marries who she chooses. I cut in. Mother gets controlling interest in the company. And you step down. Today. The boardroom erupted in chaos. Members shouting, papers flying. Father's face contorting with rage. But through it all I watched Mother. She stood straighter, taller, as if shedding decades of careful submission. There's something else you should know, Aunt Linda said quietly, just to me. About your grandfather's death. My blood ran cold. Father's head snapped up, real panic flashing across his face. Linda, don't. The statute of limitations expired last year, John, she continued, steel in her voice. Nothing stopping me from telling the truth now. I opened Mother's journal to the last entry, dated the day before my grandfather died. The words blurred before my eyes as the final piece of our family's twisted puzzle clicked into place. You're not just a bully, I said to Father, my voice shaking. You're a murderer. Mother's hand found mine under the table, squeezing hard. 28 years of questions suddenly had answers, and they were darker than I'd ever imagined. Michelle, Father said, almost pleading now. Everything I did was for this family. No, I replied, standing up straighter. Everything you did was for yourself. And now you're going to pay for it. The board members watched in stunned silence as I pulled out one final document, the one Michael had helped me prepare all night. My hands didn't shake as I placed it in front of Father. Sign it, I said. Or I'll make sure everyone knows exactly what kind of man you really are. The pen hovered over the paper as thunder cracked outside, nature itself holding its breath for his next move. The signed resignation papers felt heavy in my bag as I drove to Samantha's apartment. Victory should have tasted sweeter, but Father's last words in the boardroom haunted me. You think you've won? You have no idea what you've started. I found Samantha's door unlocked. Inside, clothes were strewn everywhere, drawers left open, her laptop screen cracked on the floor. Sam! My voice echoed through the empty rooms. Samantha! A note lay on her bed, Jason's familiar handwriting shaky and rushed. They know. Had to run. Don't try to find us. I'm sorry. My phone buzzed, Michael. Turn on the news. Now. The TV flickered to life, showing Father at a press conference outside Thompson Industries. He looked composed, almost triumphant. Regret to announce that my daughter Michelle's accusations are the desperate actions of a troubled young woman. Her sister Samantha's disappearance with company funds proves. The remote slipped from my hand. Company funds? What was he talking about? Another buzz, an unknown number. Your sister's safe. Meet at Linda's. Come alone. Mother appeared in Samantha's doorway, her face drawn. I tried to warn you. Your father, he always has contingencies. What did you know? I turned to her. About the money? Not here. She glanced around nervously. The walls have ears. We drove to Aunt Linda's in silence. The old house looked different now, shadows stretching across the overgrown garden like grasping fingers. Linda met us at the door, ushering us quickly inside. Samantha sat at the kitchen table, Jason's arm around her shoulders. Her eyes were red, but her chin was set in that stubborn way we'd inherited from Father. He planted evidence, she said before I could speak. Made it look like Jason and I embezzled millions. There's security footage, doctored bank statements, everything. It gets worse, Linda added, sliding a folder across the table. These arrived an hour ago. Inside were photos, dozens of them. Me meeting Derek Wilson. Michael accessing restricted files. Mother with her journal. All of us at the gazebo. Each one carefully dated and time-stamped. He knew, I whispered. He knew everything. Not everything. Mother's voice had changed, harder somehow. She pulled out her phone, showing us an email. Your father didn't just kill your grandfather. He made a deal with the Wilsons to cover it up. That's how he got control of the company. And now history's repeating itself, Linda said. The Wilsons never pulled out of the merger. This was all part of their plan. Jason squeezed Samantha's shoulder. We found offshore accounts in my name. If we don't disappear now. No. I cut him off. That's exactly what Father wants. To split us up, make us run, prove we're guilty. Then what do we do? Samantha asked, voice cracking. My phone buzzed again. Father. The board meets again tomorrow. Your choice. Come alone and recant everything, or watch your sister go to prison. You have until midnight. I looked around the kitchen, at Mother's newfound strength, at Linda's quiet determination, at Samantha and Jason's intertwined hands. Everything I'd done to protect them had somehow made things worse. We stop playing his game, I said finally, and we start playing mine. Michelle, Mother warned, you don't know what he's capable of. No. I pulled out my own phone, scrolling to a number I'd hoped never to use. But I know what I'm capable of. The call connected on the first ring. A familiar voice answered, Derek Wilson's father. Miss Thompson. I was wondering when you'd call. I have a proposition for you, I said, watching my family's faces. About your son's real connection to my grandfather's death. Silence crackled over the line. Then, I'm listening. Sometimes to destroy a monster you have to become one. Father had taught me that lesson well. Now it was time to show him just how well I'd learned it. Meet me in an hour, I said, and bring every skeleton in your closet. The private room at St. Michelle's restaurant felt like a war room. Richard Wilson sat across from me, his silver hair catching the candlelight, while Michael stood guard by the door. Between us lay 2 manila envelopes, mine and his. Your father always said you were the smart one, Wilson mused, swirling his whiskey. Though he meant it as a criticism. Let's skip the small talk. I pushed my envelope forward. Everything about my grandfather's death. Security footage, witness statements, financial transfers. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Impressive. But what makes you think I won't just destroy it all? Because I've already sent copies to every major news outlet. Time-delayed emails. If anything happens to me or my family. He opened his envelope, spreading photos across the table. Then you should know what these are. My heart stopped. The images showed Samantha and Jason at various ATMs, withdrawing massive sums. All dated months ago. That's impossible, I whispered. They were doctored. Were they? Wilson leaned forward. Your father didn't create these, Michelle. Your sister did. My phone buzzed. A text from Samantha. I'm sorry. I had to tell you in person. Coming to St. Michelle's now. You see, Wilson continued, young love is expensive, especially when one partner has gambling debts. The room tilted sideways. Jason's gambling debts? I looked at Michael, saw the guilt in his eyes. You knew. I tried to help them hide it, Michael admitted. To protect you. The restaurant door opened. Samantha stood there, tears streaming down her face. Michelle, please. Don't. I held up my hand, pieces clicking into place. The embezzlement charges. They weren't fake, were they? Jason promised he'd pay it back, she sobbed. But then father found out and offered me a deal, Wilson finished. The merger in exchange for burying the evidence. Your father may be a bastard, but he'd do anything to protect his children. Laughter bubbled up in my throat, harsh, bitter laughter. Protect us? By selling us off like property. By saving us from prison, Samantha whispered. My phone buzzed again. Father. Now you understand. Come home. We can fix this. The board meets in an hour, Wilson said, standing. Your choice, Michelle. Save your sister or destroy your father. You can't do both. I stared at the evidence spread before me. Proof of father's murders tangled with proof of my sister's crimes. Everything I'd fought for built on lies. Michelle. Michael touched my shoulder. We need to decide. No. I shrugged him off, facing Samantha. You decide. Right now. The truth, all of it. She sank into a chair, hands shaking. Jason's in trouble. Deep trouble. The kind that gets people killed. Father found out, offered to help, but only if. Only if you married Derek Wilson. The pieces kept falling. A twisted mosaic of manipulation. And I played right into it. I never meant. To what? To let me destroy our family trying to save you? To watch me become exactly what father always said I was. Cold, calculating, willing to burn everything down. Wilson cleared his throat. The board meeting. Will proceed exactly as planned. I gathered both envelopes, my voice steady despite the storm inside. But with one change. I pulled out my phone, dialing a number I'd memorized years ago. It rang twice. Federal Bureau of Investigation, White Collar Division. The room went deadly silent. Samantha's face drained of color. Wilson reached for the envelopes, but Michael blocked his path. This is Michelle Thompson. I'd like to report multiple cases of fraud, embezzlement, and murder. I met Wilson's eyes, then Samantha's. And I'm ready to testify. Michelle, please, Samantha begged. You'll destroy everything. No, I replied, watching father's name flash on my phone with another incoming call. I'm just finally telling the truth. All of it. Sometimes the only way to end a game is to flip the board entirely. Father had taught me that too, though I doubt this was what he had in mind. Send agents to Thompson Industries. I continued into the phone. The board meeting starts in 45 minutes. And trust me, no one's going anywhere. The Thompson Industries boardroom had become a battlefield. FBI agents lined the walls while father sat at the head of the table, somehow looking both defeated and dangerous. Like a cornered wolf. Miss Thompson, Agent Carter said. Please continue. I stood before the board, my testimony echoing in my ears. The evidence spread across the table told a story of decades of corruption, murder, and lies. Father's lies. Samantha's lies. My own. There's one more thing, I said, pulling out mother's journal. About the night my grandfather died. Father's hand twitched toward his pocket. I caught the movement. Remembered all the times that subtle gesture had silenced us as children. Not anymore. Michelle. His voice carried that familiar warning tone. Think carefully about what you're doing. The boardroom door burst open. Mother rushed in, followed by Aunt Linda. Stop. There's something you don't know. Mrs. Thompson, Agent Carter started, but Mother cut him off. I killed him. The words fell like bombs in the silent room. I killed your grandfather. The journal slipped from my fingers. What? He was going to sell the company, Mother continued, her voice steady despite her trembling hands. Leave us with nothing. Your father covered it up to protect me. Father stood slowly. Rebecca, don't. No more lies, John. She turned to me, tears streaming. Everything he did, the merger, protecting Samantha, all of it, was because I made him promise to keep our family safe. To keep my secret. The room spun. I gripped the table for support, feeling the carefully constructed narrative of my revenge crumbling. The offshore accounts, Samantha said from the doorway. They weren't just for Jason's debts, were they? They were insurance. For Mother. For all of us, Father replied quietly. Family protects family. Even from themselves. Agent Carter stepped forward. Mrs. Thompson, you understand you're confessing to murder? I understand I'm finally telling the truth. Mother reached for the journal. It's all in here. Every detail. My phone buzzed. A text from Michael. Jason's dead. Car accident. Samantha needs you. The words blurred before my eyes. I looked at my sister, saw the moment she received the same news. Her knees buckled. I caught her before she hit the floor. You knew, I whispered to Father, about Jason's gambling debts. The people he owed money to. I tried to save him, Father said. The merger would have cleared his debts, given them both a fresh start. His eyes met mine. You were right about one thing, Michelle. I am a monster. But everything I did was to protect us from worse monsters. Samantha's sobs echoed through the room. Mother moved to comfort her, but the FBI agents blocked her path. Rebecca Thompson, you're under arrest. No. I stepped forward. You can't. It's okay, sweetheart. Mother smiled that same sad smile she'd worn my entire childhood. Sometimes the only way to end a nightmare is to wake up. As they led her away, Father sank back into his chair, suddenly looking every one of his years. You wanted the truth, Michelle. Now you have it. Was it worth it? I watched my family crumbling around me. Mother in handcuffs, Samantha broken on the floor, Father defeated in his empire of lies. All because I'd been so certain of my own righteousness. The board will need to vote on interim leadership, someone was saying, given the circumstances. The circumstances, Father interrupted, are that my daughter finally proved herself worthy of the Thompson name. She did exactly what I taught her to do. He looked at me with something like pride. She destroyed her enemies, even if they were her own family. The words hit like physical blows. Because he was right. In trying to break free from his control, I'd become exactly what he'd always wanted me to be. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Linda. There's still a way to fix this. But you'll have to trust me. I looked around the boardroom one last time. At the ruins of my revenge, at the price of truth, at the family I'd tried to save and destroyed instead. Okay. I texted back. Whatever it takes. Sometimes the only way forward is through the darkness. Even if you're the one who created it. Aunt Linda's plan was elegant in its simplicity, almost beautiful like a perfectly executed chess move. And just as deadly. I found Father in his study at midnight, exactly where Linda said he'd be. The scotch bottle on his desk was half empty, Mother's journal open beside it. Come to finish what you started? He didn't look up. Jason's death wasn't an accident. I placed Linda's USB drive on his desk. But you already knew that. Now he looked up, eyes sharp despite the alcohol. What exactly are you implying? The Wilson family doesn't just own companies, do they? They own people, debts, lives. I turned his computer monitor toward me, plugging in the drive, including the lives of inconvenient teachers who get too close to their interests. Files populated the screen, decades of transactions, blackmail, bodies. Father's hand twitched toward his desk drawer. The gun's not there, I said quietly. Michael took it this morning. Linda. He almost smiled. She always was too clever for her own good. She was clever enough to keep records. Of everything. Including what really happened the night grandfather died. The study door opened. Mother stood there, flanked by FBI agents. Not in handcuffs anymore. Your confession was very convincing, Rebecca, Father said, voice hollow. I almost believed it myself. I learned from the best, John. Mother stepped into the room. How to lie. How to sacrifice. How to protect our family. And now. He gestured at the agents. This is protection. This is freedom. I pulled up one final document. The Wilson family's real financial records. Everything they've hidden. Everyone they've hurt. Including Jason. Father's face went slack. If you expose this, the merger dies. The company falls. Everything you built crumbles. I met his eyes. Unless. Sign over control to Mother. Take the fall for grandfather's death. The real story this time. Give Samantha the trust fund you've been holding hostage. He laughed, harsh and broken. Or what? Prison? Disgrace? I taught you better than empty threats, Michelle. No threats. I turned the monitor to show one last file. Just a choice. The same choice you gave us our entire lives. Family or power. The timestamp on the security footage showed last week. Father in this very study making a phone call. Jason's accident happened 20 minutes later. You were right, I continued. I am your daughter. I learned how to destroy my enemies. But I also learned when to show mercy. Mercy. He spat the word. You call this mercy? The FBI has enough to arrest both you and the Wilsons. But only one family has to fall tonight. I slid the confession papers across his desk. Your choice, Father. But choose quickly. Agent Carter is very eager to make his arrest. Mother stepped forward, placing her hand over his. John, please, let it end. The clock ticked. Father stared at the papers, then at me. I saw the exact moment his armor cracked, when he realized he'd created something he couldn't control. You really would destroy everything, he whispered. Just like I taught you. No. I pushed the pen closer. I'm saving what matters. Just like Mother taught me. His hand shook as he reached for the pen. Outside, dawn was breaking over the city, painting his empire in shades of gold and shadow. The board meeting is in 3 hours, I said. Time to wake up from the nightmare, Father. He signed. Agent Carter stepped forward with handcuffs, but I held up my hand. Give us a moment. When they left, Father stood slowly, straightening his tie one last time. Was any of it real? Your revenge? Your righteousness? Was any of your love real? He touched Mother's journal, then looked at me with something like respect. You're better at this game than I ever was. It's not a game anymore. I gathered the evidence, leaving only the signed confession. It's justice. Justice, he echoed, offering his wrists to the returning agents. Is that what we're calling vengeance these days? I watched them lead him away, this man who'd shaped my life with fear and control, now broken by the very weapons he'd given me. Goodbye, Father. Sometimes mercy is the cruelest revenge of all. The old gazebo creaked under our weight as Samantha and I sat in the growing darkness. Between us lay Mother's journal, its pages now holding more truth than either of us had been prepared for. Did you read all of it? Samantha traced the worn cover. Enough. I watched the lights of police cars flash in front of our childhood home. She knew about Jason's troubles. Tried to warn Father, but he was already too deep with the Wilsons. And Aunt Linda? Had been gathering evidence since Grandfather died, waiting for the right moment. I pulled out the last piece of paper we'd found hidden in the journal's binding. Or the right person. The letter was dated 20 years ago, written in Linda's careful hand. To whichever daughter finds her voice first. Samantha's fingers trembled as she read it. She knew we'd fight back someday. She knew we'd have to. Inside the house, Mother was speaking with federal agents, her voice carrying that new strength we were still getting used to. Michael stood guard by the door, giving us the space we needed for this final conversation. I keep thinking about what Father said, Samantha whispered. About protecting us from worse monsters. Maybe he did. I watched another police car arrive. But he became a monster himself in the process. And what about us? She turned to me, eyes bright with unshed tears. What did we become? The question hung between us, heavy as inheritance. Before I could answer, Aunt Linda appeared at the garden path. They found the Wilson family's records, she said. All of them. The FBI's moving on their entire operation tonight. And Jason's death? Will be properly investigated now. Linda sat between us, taking our hands. Your father's confession changes everything. A commotion from the house drew our attention. They were leading Father out in handcuffs. He walked with his head high, but something had changed in his posture, like a puppet with cut strings. He paused at the police car, looking toward the gazebo. For a moment, I saw him as he must have been before. A young man trying to protect his family, making one compromise after another until compromise became corruption. The board meeting's been postponed, Linda continued. But they'll need an answer about leadership soon. Mother will handle it, I said. She always was better at business than Father admitted. And you? I stood, feeling the weight of the past few weeks, of all the choices that had led us here. I think I'm done with empire building. Michelle. Samantha grabbed my hand. We're still family, right? After everything. The police cars pulled away, their lights painting the garden in red and blue shadows. Father disappeared into the night, taking with him decades of secrets and control. Family protects family, I said. But maybe it's time we learned a different way to do it. Mother joined us, carrying a box of old photographs. Without speaking, we began sorting through them. Birthday parties, holidays, moments of joy caught between the darkness. I found this, Mother said, pulling out a crumpled piece of paper. My childhood handwriting spelled out a simple promise: to protect Samantha always. You did, you know, Samantha said softly. Protect me. Just not the way any of us expected. I thought about Father's last words to me. You're better at this game than I ever was. But looking at my family now, broken but healing, wounded but free, I realized he'd missed the point entirely. It was never about being better at the game. It was about having the courage to stop playing. Linda squeezed my shoulder. The company's lawyers will need your statement tomorrow. Tomorrow, I agreed, but made no move to leave the gazebo. For now, this moment was enough. The night air, the creaking wood, the sound of my family breathing freely for the first time in decades. Sometimes victory looks nothing like you imagined. Sometimes it's just the quiet after the storm. When you realize the person you fought hardest to become isn't the person you needed to be at all. I looked at the stars emerging above us, bright and clear and honest. Tomorrow would bring its own battles, but tonight, in this space between what was and what could be, we were simply ourselves, no games, no masks, no empire to protect. Just family. Finally learning how to truly protect each other.